Hello, my name is Sarah Bodman. I'm an artist and researcher working with artist books, and I'm based here at Barrow Ashton, where I also run the MA in multidisciplinary printmaking. My research interests are in collaboration, feminism, environment and nature, and I'm currently starting a new collaboration with the artist Roelof Bakker.
Hi, I'm Roelof Bakker, and I'm a Hastings-based artist and writer. Originally from the Netherlands, I've lived in the UK since 1984 and graduated in 2019 with an MA Fine Art from Cambridge School of Art. Um, my work addresses contemporary social issues and historical events relating to the queer lived experience, and new work in development addresses my relationship to nature, queerness in nature, and the ecological collapse. And I work across photography, writing, artist books, and performance, and I'm interested in discovering the potential of the juxtaposition of image, text, and form, and tactile. The tech and tactility is key to my making. I'm also the publisher of Negative Press London.
Roelof and I are undertaking a mail art collaboration to produce a body of work for an exhibition and to produce an artist book. Along the way, we will document and reflect upon our practice to produce a written text for an article that will examine our inspirations, interaction, and outcomes. But we don't yet know where our collaboration will take us. We're using collage and mail art as a means to explore instructions from Paul Thek's manifesto, which is directed by a statement by James Baldwin. The statement is, "The place in which I'll fit will not exist until I make it."
We will be asking questions, making work, responding to that statement by lo-fi means, cutting, gluing, posting, etc. Kind of inventing our place, one that as yet does not exist, perhaps our utopia. Can we make a space unique for us, a place of visual debates and knowledge sharing?
So if we ask a question each, we're not going to answer it, are we?
No,
No.
because we don't know the answers at the
I know
moment.
exactly, and we'll know the answer through collage. So some of our questions that we're going to ask each other are, what is your place in the world?
Where is your place in the world?
How much time do you spend in nature?
Do you feel alienated from wilderness?
What are the birds saying?
Are you an activist and feminist, maker, destroyer, doer?
What are your hopes and dreams?
What do you dream of when you sleep? Where do you go?
What does it mean to be a human now?
How do you engage with ideas of post-colonialism?
What is art making to you?
What is reading to you?
What do words mean to you?
Do you think rules should be broken?
What rules would you set?
Are you willing to accept change?
Can we change anything?
With the great thing about collage, you can create spaces that don't exist, so that kind of relates to our ideas as well. You can make something entirely new. So, and how do you make something new together? I think that is also an interesting one.
I think that's going to be interesting to see what happens. I've already responded to yours, so I'm lucky because I've had yours first. So I could make something from that. That was really nice for me. I think for me, collage is just amazing because it's kind of completely non-hierarchical, isn't it? Literally, if you've got scissors and a magazine, anyone can do collage. So there's no kind of looking at it thinking, oh my God, I don't want to damage anything, or I don't, well, how will I be judged by what I've made? It's literally, we're responding to these questions, we're responding to other things that pop up on the way. So for me, I find that a really easy way to work.
Yeah, and I also think what I found just from experimenting and kind of getting into the rhythm of it is that doing collage, i.e., looking for material and then cutting it out, is really very meditative.
Yeah, it is.
And it really allows for a lot of self-reflection or thinking. And then you've got these shapes in your hands before you glue them down and you can position them. You know, you're kind of free to move them around until you put something down to paper in a sense. and then you kind of then you start your narrative the moment you've got one thing glued down or fixed, and then everything else got to move around that until that is fixed as well. And that is quite a fabulous way of working. So you're kind of sketching in a way, but then you're also making the final artwork as you go. It's easy to forget how much work and in-depth research and thinking goes into making like a book, like Read to
Mm.
Read. And the
It
same,
does, yeah.
the same for me with the spots. It's actually maybe it doesn't take a long time sometimes, but there's a lot of thoughts and a lot of sorting out
Yeah.
questions in your head, isn't it? And then you suddenly have something that makes sense. And
Yeah.
so I kind of like this idea that we can come to a place where we make sense of something together. I think that is kind of quite exciting and a dynamic kind of idea, making sense together.
I was just thinking of your beautiful sunflowers. It's all, but it's all related, isn't it? I mean, when you said about, read to me, read with me, and all those kind of interconnections, I do find, yeah, you kind of think that you finished one book and moved on to something completely different, but even looking at the very different things you've done, they're still there, aren't they? They're still those original ideas and original feelings and themes. They're still there, even though it's a different title.
Yeah, there's always some kind of a common thread, I think, in a sense, whether it's of approach, although the approach can be very different, but I think, well, with both our work, I think there's a lot of thought and research, and just making something doesn't mean that you just sit there and make it. Sometimes it's the result of lots of reading, actually, and looking at other
Yeah,
things.
that you haven't actually realised at the time, and as
Yeah.
you're making it, it's like today when I was scanning the collage, and I thought, of course, like the alpinist like John Dilnot. Why wouldn't I have thought of that before? There's, all that stuff you read that does kind of sink in eventually. But you think you're doing something completely unconsciously, and then you can always link it back to something.
And there's always the joy years later to see a connection you didn't see at the time. So
Yeah,
it's always a live thing, whatever you make, or somebody else sees something or makes some kind of a connection, and then you kind of think, oh yeah, this book or whatever is full of life. Well, the research starts with a question, doesn't it? So,
yeah,
so in every card or every collage starts with a question or maybe multiple questions as well. So yeah, it's
yeah.
quite interesting.
I think I like the idea of the multiple questions because I think I took your cue, so I've answered your question between us with the collage, and I've answered the Paul Thek question with the postcard with collage.
Mm,
So we've already got two lots of collaboration going on.
good, good, good.
So that's quite nice. I can imagine them sitting next to each other somewhere in the future in an exhibition.
Fabulous.